Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project is we're going to be replacing this miniature toilet with a regular full-size toilet. This one, I don't know what the people were thinking when they got it, but it's only 13 inches high, and it's just too small. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this out and we're going to replace it with a regular full-size. A couple tools you're going to need. You're going to need possibly a utility knife to cut around the bottom of the toilet where the silicone is. We're going to need a set of sockets. In this particular case, it's a 14mm socket we're going to be using, but yours may be different. We are going to need an adjustable wrench or a channel locks like this. We may need an adjustable wrench like this. We are going to need some silicone. Of course, we have a new toilet, and we're going to need a scraper to scrape off the old wax ring. We're going to need a bucket, a cup to remove the water, and a rag because we are going to have water leaking out on the floor. All right, so this is what we're going to do here first. We're going to come in on the side over here. I'll bring it on, I'm going to show you. Down on the side right here, you'll see the valve right here. We're going to turn this valve off. We're going to turn it all the way in until it doesn't turn anymore. And we are going to put something underneath here to catch water because it possibly could leak a little bit, so we are going to be prepared just in case. Before we loosen this up here though, we're going to flush the toilet after the valve is closed. Here, when the valve is closed, we're going to flush the toilet until all the water runs out of this tank. Once the water is out of the tank, we are still going to get some water dripping out over here, but it'll be a very small amount. So we have our bucket ready to catch whatever water does come out. Then we're going to come down underneath here. We're going to remove these covers, this one here. And this one here as well. And we're going to take out that 14mm bolt or nut right there, and one on the other side. All right, so enough talking. Let's get in there and let's get started. We turned the valve all the way off now. We have a rag to catch any kind of water that drips out. And then we're going to come in here, we're going to flush it. And that will get all of the water out of the tank itself. Well, most of it anyway. We're going to just hold this open here, just so all the water drains out. All right, we have no leak there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the top off the tank here, just like this. And then down in the tank itself, over here, you'll see that the water level is almost all the way down, but there is still water in there. So before we take it and disconnect this tank all the way, we're going to get in here with a cup. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in here with a bucket and a cup, and we're going to take out the water that's in the tank. Now I know you're probably saying, oh, that's gross, but this is regular clean water. It's not any other kind of water. And we're just going to continue until we have all of the water out of this tank. Okay, I just want to bring this up to you. You're probably looking inside the tank here saying, why is the tank discolored? Over time, minerals build up and they leave this kind of sediment inside the tank itself, so it is kind of normal. This is not really much. I've seen a lot worse than this. So it's clean water. It's just the sediment from the regular water. So we're going to clean this all out with the cup the best we can, and we're going to dry it out with a rag because we want to minimize the amount of water that's going to be leaking onto the ground when we remove this toilet from its where it's set right now. All right, so let's get this emptied out. We'll dry it all out, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with phase 2. We have the tank itself is totally emptied out. We dried it out with a rag. We also, just so you know, emptied out the bowl itself, took all the water out of there. So now it's pretty much dried out, but you will wind up with a little bit of leakage, just so you know. So as a precaution, we have a plastic bag just to put everything on so we don't make a mess through the house when we take it out. All right, on the other side, we did take out that screw right there, and now we're going to do the exact same thing here. It's just a matter of putting the wrench, where are you? Putting the wrench onto it and just loosen it up. Now this is not going to be any good. This is going to be trash, just so you know. It gets to a certain point and it won't go anymore. So we're going to use our wrench, take it the rest of the way. The only thing I will tell you is just make sure you take the extra time to make sure that the bowl and everything is totally empty so that you don't have a mess throughout your house. All right, so we'll take this out. Okay, we take that off. Take this off. As you can see, it's got a little gasket, a little washer on there. So we're going to take that off as well. And that's it. So you can see right here, somebody cut this off with a hacksaw. That's why it's a little bit tight coming out over the edge, which is perfectly normal. All right, next thing we're going to do now is we're going to grab the toilet, we're going to lift it up, and we're going to remove it. So you know, we just took a throwaway cup, we cut it down real small, and we were able to clear out the rest of the water in the bowl itself. All right, so let's grab this thing, let's lift it up. And you may need a helper because this is probably going to be fairly heavy. So this one, as you can see, is a one-piece. Some of them come as a two-piece. All right, so let's continue with that. Okay, good. All right, let's lift it up and let's get it off of here. Rock it back and forth a little bit, and then it's ready to lift it up. And we're going to put it on this plastic right here. All right, so let's get this out of here. I am going to need some help getting this out. So once we remove this, we'll come back and we'll talk about this wax ring right over here that we're going to be replacing. Okay, so now that we have the toilet removed, we see underneath here is the old wax ring. We need to remove these bolts and throw them away. We're not going to reuse them, and we're going to take this wax ring off here and we're going to install a new one that comes with the toilet. Now, as you can see on this particular one here, this is the wax ring that we're going to use. You see this plastic piece right here? This plastic piece is in here as well. We need to remove it from here before we put that one on. All right, so now we have to get in here with a scraper and take off everything here. Try not to let a lot of it fall down into the waistline itself. Try to remove as much as you possibly can. So we're going to scrape all this out. We are going to take a razor blade and we're going to clean up the ground right here where the previous toilet was, just so we have a nice clean surface here. And we'll just use our razor blade and just take everything off until it's nice and clean like that. So we're going to clean this all up and we're going to remove this. And you do it with a scraper. You just come in here and you push on it and you can take out like this. Have something that you can put the trash into handy. All right, I'm not going to bore you with how to do this. We're just going to continue and we're going to take everything out. And once we have it all out, then we'll come back and we'll reassemble it. But this is the piece I'm telling you about that needs to come out. This piece right here is part of the plastic. This is going to be removed along with the wax ring itself. All right, so let me clean this all up. And once it's clean, we'll come back and we'll start to reassemble and get this job back in working order. All right, so all right, we'll come right back. So now that we have it cleaned up pretty good, we're going to come in here, we're going to clean a little bit better, but I want to explain to you about the bolts that we're going to be putting in. Remember I said these we are not going to use. These are trash, so you're going to discard them. So we cleaned up here as best we could, but to take these out, you just take them and you slide them towards the hole. You can see where the hole here is a little bit bigger than over there. So you take this, you pull it this way, and then you rotate it and you pull it out and you throw it in the trash. We'll do the exact same thing over here. Take it, push it towards the opening, rotate it, and pull it out. Now you can see that, I'll show you on the new bolt. You can see how this bolt here, it's not perfectly round. It's cut thinner on the side right here. That's because when you put it in, you put it into the opening, you rotate it, and then you would actually slide it back into that position. All right, so we are going to clean up here a little bit better, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to take these, and I'll show you right here. We're going to come in this way here. We're going to bring it in here like this to there, and then we're going to take the lock tab that comes with it. We're going to hold the bolt with our hands here, and we're going to screw this down all the way down. Be careful you don't drop it down the drain. We're going to set this bolt in place, and then we'll come back and we'll put this toilet back. Okay, so as you can see, we put the 2 screws in here. These pieces face up, not down. All right, so now we have these in place, back on. Now the wax ring itself, the way you put the wax ring on is you turn the toilet itself upside down. As you can see, it's upside down already. We take this like this. We put our hand inside of it to hold it. Don't touch the wax, and you can take this off just like this. Sometimes it comes off in one piece, but of course this time it's not. Try not to damage the wax. Okay, we take this all out. Be careful with it because it will make a little bit of a mess. We take this, put it right up on top here just like this, push it down till it just sticks to it, and now we're ready to turn the toilet over and have those 2 bolts come right through here. Once we have the bolts go through here, we'll take the toilet and we'll rock it back and forth and push it down until it seats into this wax ring. Okay, so now as you can see, we have it on the bolts the way they're supposed to be. We sat the toilet down on top of that wax ring. We did it on the other side exactly the same way. And now that we're centered in the hole, we're just going to keep slight pressure down, and we're going to let that wax ring squish out underneath there. All right, so we're going to do that. And in the meantime, what we're going to do, we're going to take our pieces like this, and we're going to screw it down. All right, so let me do that. So now we have the one side is already screwed down. We're going to put this one now over the top just like this, and we're going to screw it down just a little bit, just till it comes in contact with it. Then what we're going to do is we need to take the toilet and push it down to seat that wax ring. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to lean on it, and we're just going to push it down until it seats all the way down. And you'll see it's going down because you look right here. You see how it's got more distance now? So we're just going to keep doing that. And we're going to slowly push it down until it seats all the way. And once it seats all the way, that's it. It's finished. We don't have to do anything with this part here any longer until we're at the final stages, and we'll come back to that. After we have these tightened up down the bottom right here, we are not going to over tighten these because you don't want to crack the porcelain, so you make them hand tight and hand tight only. Okay? And once you have them hand tight, you can snap your covers back on, but we're going to come back to this in just a minute. Right now we're going to put the water tank on. So we're going to take the gasket that came provided. We're going to take the tank itself, and you can see that it's a very large nut right here. You can see it's a very large nut. We're going to take this piece, put it over it so that it fits on, push it on just like that, pull these down slightly, and then we're going to take this and we're going to stand it up on top of the base unit itself. All right, so let's do that. Now, let me just explain this to you before we get in there. When we put that back through, we put this on here and bring the screws through here. We're going to put these on the bottom where the bolts come through down here and down on the bottom. We're going to put on this piece up on the bottom, and then this nut screws on like this, and we're going to screw it as tight as we can by hand. And then we're going to come back and we're going to take our tool that's provided, and it goes on like that, and we're going to tighten it down alternately, left side, right side, and back and forth, so that the water tank itself sits evenly on top right here. You don't want it tilted sideways, you don't want it tilted back. You want it evenly going down. Okay, so let's get it up there and we'll put this on. Okay, now we're going to take our washer, we'll put it up on the bottom, right up in here. You may have to reach in through the top and hold the bolt so it doesn't move. So we're just going to push it up onto here. I'll start it and I'll show you what I mean. See how it's going on? Okay? And now we'll just screw that up by hand. A couple of threads. We're inside the tank itself, holding the other part of the screw that's protruding through so that it doesn't rotate. Next we take our nut and we're going to screw that on by hand as well. Okay, so now we have one that's caught on there. We're going to leave this right here. We're going to go around the other side and we are going to take the other one here along with our gasket and we're going to screw this on to the other one. Reach in through the top and hold the bolt so that it doesn't rotate while you're working. I'll show you what I'm holding in just a second. You see the bolts? That's what we're holding. Okay? So now we're going to go underneath the bottom. We're going to tighten them down alternately. We may need to hold that screw up on top with a screwdriver to keep it from rotating. So let's do that. We're holding this now with our screwdriver, and down on the bottom we're just turning that tool until it tightens up. And then we're going to evenly tighten left side, right side until the tank itself is evenly tightened down. Again, you don't want to over tighten it, so just when it comes in contact with the porcelain, then we know we're done. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side now. All right, so now down the bottom right here, we are still going to tighten it down. If you can see this space you have right here, we are going to tighten it a little bit more until this comes in contact with the porcelain right there. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said, you're just going to alternate left side, right side until it comes in contact with the porcelain. And now I can feel that's fairly tight. We're just going to snug this side here down. And now you can see it's touching right into the porcelain right here, so that tank is nice and tight. All right, so let's grab our cover, put our cover on, and then we're going to grab our supply line. We'll connect the supply line up, and we're just about done. Next, we're going to take our water supply line, and we're going to attach it on here just like that. Now, it is going to be difficult for me to film this and tighten it up at the same time, so I'm just going to give you the idea of how it goes. We're going to screw it on so it's nice and tight on here. Okay, we're going to snug it in there, and then we're going to tighten this piece here on here by hand as well. So I'm going to need two hands to do that, so we're going to connect this up and we'll come right back. Okay, so now we snug these up here, we tightened them down. Now these you do not tighten up until they're gorilla tight. You just snug them in by hand and then you tighten it up with a wrench just a little bit tighter. You don't want to over tighten it because you will definitely wind up damaging this. And we connected it on right up here. Again, this is strictly by hand. You don't go any tighter than by hand, just like that. Okay, and that's it. It's all done. All right, next thing we're going to do now is we put our tank lid on. Next thing we're going to do, let's put the seat on. Now we have our seat. We're going to take these, lift these up just like this. We're going to take these pieces here that come provided. They slide in just like that. Okay, same thing here, just like that. Push it in, all the way in. We are going to put these through here, like that, and like that. We'll grab our seat now, and we're going to put it right up on here. We're going to take our seat, we're going to take it up, put it in just like this. Put it through here. Then we're going to take our pieces like this that come provided. This one goes up first, and then this one screws up below it, just like that. All right, so we're going to hold this down with our thumb right here, and we're going to catch this one on here, and then we'll screw this up on the bottom. And then we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to put it on like this, and then this goes up below it, and then we'll tighten it up. Again, hold it with your thumb. And then tighten it up with your fingers. Then center your seat over the bowl itself. We're going to hold it with a screwdriver right up here, and then we'll just snug it down. Okay, same thing right here. Screwdriver, and we're going to snug it down. It's nice and tight. We'll snap this down, snap this down, and now the soft close will work as it's supposed to. Okay, last but not least, let's turn on the water supply and let's see how it works. I forgot to tell you about these. These pieces just go over the top like this, and you push them down just like that, and that's finished. We'll do this on the other side, and it snaps in, and that's it. Let's turn our water supply on, and we'll make sure it works. Now, when you turn your water supply on, you want to be a little careful, just in case you have a little bit of a leak. Whether you're leaking through here or you're leaking up top there. So we're going to turn it on slowly. And you'll hear the water turn on. And you see it start to fill up. We're going to dry off everything that was damp from putting it on. And now we'll just let it fill up all the way. Okay, now I want to point this out to you too. Sometimes after you turn these valves and close them and then turn them back on, sometimes you'll leak a little bit of water through here. If that's the case, you would take an adjustable wrench and you put the adjustable wrench on here and you tighten this up. But we'll see how that is in just a minute. Let's dry everything off. You can hear it's filling up all the way now. Put that lid down the right way, the way it's supposed to be. Okay. And we're just going to touch everything to make sure it's nice and dry, which it is. Same thing here, nice and dry. This we turn strictly by hand, remember. And this should be shutting off momentarily. All right, it's shut off now. And you can see there's no leaks in here at all. It's nice and dry. If it was leaking, of course, then you can go in here with a wrench, tighten it up just a little bit more. But we see it's not leaking, it's bone dry. Same thing up here. If it leaks, tighten it up a little bit. As I said over here, you could tighten this up with an adjustable if it was leaking. But as you can see, it's not leaking here at all either. All right, let's test it out and make sure it works. All right, now we'll just make sure that the water level here turns off, and we should be all set then. Now that we're sure that everything is good, we're looking again to make sure there's no leaks here, which is bone dry. Bone dry, of course, we flushed it, and we made sure we have no leaks, of course, by where the wax ring sits against the floor itself. All right, so that's it. This job is done. Okay, something else I want to talk to you about too is now me personally, when I put the toilet down and everything is all finished, I do seal the base of the toilet with a silicone. Now the silicone I use is a mold resistant silicone, and there is a lot of controversy. Some plumbers tell you yes, seal it to the floor. Others tell you no, don't seal it to the floor, because if there's a leak in the wax ring, you want to know if there's a leak without it leaking down into your basement unknown to you and damaging your subfloor and any other components in there. What I normally do is I seal the toilet itself most of the way, all the way around, but I do leave the back open slightly. So if there is a little bit of a leak, it will show up here before it shows up down in the basement area. All right, so I am going to seal around the toilet itself with a mold-resistant sealer and leave open in the very back. I'm going to leave open probably about 2, maybe 3 inches around the back. But that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more of them, hit the subscribe button down the bottom. When you hit the subscribe button, the bell is going to come up, and the bell will notify you of future uploads. It's personal preference. You pick if you want to be notified or if you do not want to be notified. It's entirely up to you. All right, this job is done, and we're on to the next one. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.